a reminder you can help support the channel by joining the AMTV Patreon. You can also follow us and keep up to date on Twitter at AdamMartinAMTV, or if you like, you can join us here at AMTV by becoming a staff member via the YouTube membership programme. Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review Extra, the spin-off show that takes a look at one individual ident each episode and gives it the review it deserves. And this time around, we're embarking on a journey through the ITV Network and all the different regional stations that comprised it. And this time, we're looking at the successor to Thames, Carlton Television. Outbidding Thames Television in the 1991 franchise round, it was decreed that Carlton Television would take over broadcasts covering the London region during the week from New Year's Day of 1993. This was quite the blow to Thames and their viewers, and like with any transition in television, it would naturally take time for both the creatives and the audience to adjust. And as we know, one really important aspect of a successful switchover is its presentation, how the newcomer showcases itself, and what it can offer to its prospective audience. So with that, let's quickly go through nearly 10 years of Carlton idents to see how they tackled this new challenge.
This is Carlton Television for London!
And a very happy new year. Welcome to 1993 and our first programme live from Trafalgar Square. Here's Chris Tarrant with A Carlton New Year.
This is Carlton Television for London.
This is Carlton Television for London. Was that okay? Was I all right? Oh, yes. Good. Yes. Did I look okay? Was I smiling?
Thank you, lovely.
Oh, lovely.
Next, please.
Now on Carlton, our holiday morning movie, the delightful animated version of Watership Down.
Tonight there's a look behind the scenes at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Is that your final answer? Can be seen at 9:30. Right now though, animation from Mickey to infinity and beyond.
Good morning and welcome to Carlton Television, serving the Central Region. This is Carlton Television from London, part of ITV1. Now for the news, we say a very good afternoon to Katie Derham.
Always nice to see some consistency. Right from the off in 1993, Carlton clearly tries to make an upfront impression. Rather than using computer graphics or traditional styles of ident animation, instead we are treated to a selection of people, all saying, "This is Carlton Television for London." A very firm appraisal that Carlton is here and here to stay, despite the impressive shadow cast by Thames's near 25-year hold on the region. Whilst I don't mind seeing people appear in idents, I personally always prefer ones without them. An ident that's cleverly crafted using all kinds of different technologies to me is infinitely more interesting than someone just telling me what I'm watching. That's arguably what you have continuity announcers for. Over 2 years later, in 1995, the use of people in vision was to change, with now just the Carlton logo taking centre stage. A minimalistic approach is favoured here, with the Carlton logo swinging into focus transparently before becoming opaque and white as the final image. Whilst the changing colours do look really nice, this feels so lacklustre. There was a habit of 90s idents generally going for a less is more kind of vibe, which can work, but here, what does this really tell you about the company? To me, this feels more like a stock sequence thrown together, a minimal approach that doesn't really communicate anything besides an array of pretty colours. It seems like the public had a similar view, as just 1 year later, a new batch of idents were introduced, designed by Martyn Lambie-Nairn's firm, who designed some of the most iconic TV idents of all time, including Channel 4's design and many of the 90s variants for BBC Two. Late 1996 saw the introduction of Lambie-Nairn's work, still adopting a minimal approach, but one that arguably comes across in a far more effective manner. Simple animations, like the O of London rising and falling into Carlton, a nice little Christmas variant, as well as those of the more psychedelic variety, there genuinely feels like a lot more personality to Carlton now than there was in the first two batches. These variants would last for around 3 years, before ITV announced their second generic look, themed around hearts. Several regions took up this more generic branding, but Carlton refused. Their new idents to usher them into the new millennium would incorporate hearts to create a link to the other network, but would remain distinct to Carlton itself. Debuting in 1999, Carlton's hearts appeared on viewers' screens. Several second-long films were shown displaying a heart before a star beams into view, settling alongside the Carlton logo. The addition of spinning stars in the background I find quite nice. It remains distinctive but also appealing to the eye, as do the different colours. Viewers of a certain generation may feel this looks familiar, as a similar design was used for Carlton's home video releases, many of which were tapes containing children's programmes of the day. The final image displays the ITV logo, but it's clearly Carlton itself that gets to take centre stage, this remaining the case as ITV became ITV1. However, just shy of Carlton's 10th birthday, in 2002, given that together with Granada, having acquired all the franchises within England and Wales, a decision was made to remove all regional continuity, branding, and idents too, in favour of one single brand, that of course being ITV1. And so, after 9 years of appearing on London screens, Carlton idents would fade away, their hearts and stars along with it. Carlton in many ways is one of the last bastions of the old regional system that the ITV network used to operate. After stepping into the immense shoes of Thames Television, Carlton dedicated itself to impressing and retaining viewers in London, but if they were successful, I'd argue their first few batches of idents hardly contributed to that. With the collaboration with Lambie-Nairn in 1996, the presentation certainly improved with more personality and charm, and despite rejecting the general ITV look seen in 1999, their own efforts certainly bear improvement compared to their beginnings. A 9-year lifespan seems comparatively short when compared to some of its peers, but in that short time, Carlton was able to assert itself, and together with Granada, ended up in charge of vast chunks of the ITV network as a whole. So whether you remember seeing the sequence in London, or on their home video releases like I did, a great many viewers have a fond place for the stars of Carlton Television. And so that brings us to the end of another episode of the Ident Review Extra. If you enjoyed this look back at Carlton, then please leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for lots more Ident related content. I've been Adam Martyn from AMTV, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. A special thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special shout out to Macra, an AMTV staff member. Until the next broadcast, we wish you all a good night.